Welcome. Thank you so much for joining this video chat with me. My name is Dr. Star, and I'm going to be your psychiatrist for today. Now, let me just pull up your information really quick and have you confirm some things for me. First of all, how are you feeling today? Good. Okay. Not stressed or anything about this test, right? Okay. Yeah, nothing to worry about. This is just a non-comprehensive test. We'll do some more testing if we feel we need to. This is just the most basic test. So if we find that you pass this test, then we can go ahead and give you a diagnosis. But if you don't, we can go through and do further testing. Okay. Right. Okay. Can I have you confirm your name for me? Very good. Your date of birth? Okay. And your address currently? Okay, awesome. And then just in a brief summary, what made you want to seek out this test? Just, I guess the things that you struggle with the most. Lack of focus, okay. Paying attention. Okay. So we can get started. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. There is, I think, 18 questions. Yes, 18 questions. And I just want you to, oh, sorry about that. There's a plane flying above us. Okay, so I just want you to answer with never, rarely, sometimes, often, or very often. I'm sure you've done tests like this in the past. Okay, awesome. So let us start with question number 1. First question is, how often do you have trouble wrapping up the final details of a project once the challenging parts have been done? Often? Okay. I'll note that. Yeah, I have to manually put the questions in, but that's okay. How often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have to do a task that requires organization? Want me to read that again? Okay, no worries. How often do you have difficulty getting things in order when you have to do a task that requires organization? Very often. Okay. Very often. Next question. How often do you have problems remembering appointments or obligations? Sometimes. You set a lot of alarms for yourself? Okay, so if you didn't have those alarms, would it be different? It'd be very often. Okay, I will change that because that's more what we're wanting to know. Okay, when you have a task that requires a lot of thought, how often do you avoid or delay getting started? Often. Okay. Well, it's pretty busy out there today. Number 5. How often do you fidget or squirm with your hands or feet when you have to sit down for a long time? Often? Okay. do you feel how often do you feel overly active and compelled to do things like you are driven by a motor? Very often. Okay. Yeah, so that's a big thing. Impulse control. Okay. Number 7. We're about halfway through. How often do you make a careless mistake when you have to work on a boring or difficult project? Sometimes. Okay. Number 8. How often do you have difficulty keeping your attention when you are doing boring or repetitive work? Very often. Okay. Number 9. How often do you have difficulty concentrating on what people say to you, even when they are speaking to you directly? Often. That's a big one. Okay. Number 10. How often do you misplace or have difficulty finding things at home or at work? Often. Okay. How often are you distracted by activity or noise around you? Very often. Okay. How often do you leave your seat in meetings or other situations in which you are expected to remain seated? Sometimes. Okay. How often do you feel restless or fidgety? Very often. How often do you have difficulty unwinding and relaxing when you have time to yourself? Sometimes. Okay. How often do you let me start over. How often do you find yourself talking too much, when you're in social situations? Let me start that over again. How often do you find yourself talking too much when you are in social situations? Sometimes. You're either really shy or talk too much? Okay, I can put a note in with that. Okay. We have 3 more questions. When you're in a conversation, how often do you find yourself finishing the sentences of the people you are talking to before they can finish them themselves? Sometimes. Okay. How often do you have difficulty waiting your turn in situations when turn taking is required? Sometimes. Okay, one more question. How often do you interrupt others when they are busy? Often. Okay. Well, that is the end of our test. I'm going to make a couple notes really quick. And one second. That was pretty easy, right? Pretty harmless. Yeah. Okay. So just looking over the results right now, we're not going to give you an actual diagnosis yet. That's something that I will call you about, and then we can further schedule more appointments. But if I'm just looking at it now, it looks to me that it is possible that you have ADHD. And if that is true, we can talk about whether medication is something that you would like to start and try out, see if it works for you. Just now, while we're on the subject, when would be a good time for me to call? Mondays and Tuesdays are the best. Okay, and what time? The afternoon? Okay, I can do that. Now, I just want to ask you, I know we did the overall, I asked you kind of what you're struggling with the most, but more specifically, in terms of schooling, house, friendships, relationships, sleep, I just want you to go through and tell me some of the difficulties that you've had. So let's start with home life. You have trouble keeping your space clean? Okay. How's your relationship with your family? Oh, good, okay. Awesome. We need all the support we can get. So that's really cool. Okay. And what about your other relationships with friends and partners? Okay. You feel like sometimes you can't stay engaged in conversation, and that affects friendships. Okay, that's understandable. I'm sorry that you struggle with that. Let's hope that we can find some resolutions for these issues. We can't cure you, but we can find ways to manage the difficulties that you're experiencing. Yeah. Okay. School? Had a lot of trouble in school. Okay. Homework. Had trouble getting your homework done. Was that because the material or your motivation to finish the homework? Motivation, okay. What would you say your favorite subject was? English, okay. And how was English for you? Okay, it was a lot easier. Yeah. It's a lot easier for folks with ADHD to focus on the things that they're actually interested in. There's actually a thing called hyperfocus, where we might get really focused and our attention cannot be taken away from something if we are interested in it. Do you ever find that? Okay. You said you spent 8 hours knitting? Okay. Well, that's cool that you know how to knit. I wish I knew how to knit. Yeah, I'm not very crafty. Okay. What about sleep? How's your sleeping schedule? You sometimes have issues with insomnia, you're saying? Okay. Have you tried any products to help you go to sleep, whether that's prescription medication, melatonin, CBD, sleepy time tea? You tried CBD? Okay. How did that work for you? It didn't work. Okay. I would recommend trying melatonin. They have some really good gummy versions of it, and I can send you an email with the different companies that I think work the best. There's also always the option of getting on a prescription medication. My one issue with that is that it can cause pretty intense side effects. So I like to recommend melatonin and more natural, safe options before we go ahead with that. But if it's something that you really struggle with, we can definitely try and see how the medication works for you. Okay. And you said it kind of comes in waves. Okay. Well, that's all I need from you today. I'm going to go over the test and all my notes with my colleagues, and I will call you on Monday in the afternoon with your results. Like I said, if we find that you do have ADHD, I will schedule another appointment with you. You can come in person, or we can do another video chat like this, and it would be best to do it in person if that's something that you're able to do, but no worries if not. And we can just go over different treatment options, maybe schedule appointments with a therapist. I can help you find a therapist within your budget, and then we can see what kind of help you need with me or any other psychiatrist if you decide to go a different route. I do work on a sliding scale, so if you have any kind of budget issues, I can work with you. I suggest that we do at least one appointment a month, but 2 is more ideal. That way I can stay up to date with how you're reacting to, if you decide to go on medication, how you're reacting to the medication, and just how you're managing overall. That sounds good? Okay. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will speak to you on Monday.